here is Pennsylvania slate. That's Pennsylvania slate. Now you got to be more specific than saying Pennsylvania slate because you have to know what quarry or what area or vein that slate came from to determine whether or not you've got good slate or not. This slate here is a gray slate, okay? The texture on the front, for the older ones here, it's just like the old chalkboards. Very, very smooth, okay? And that's pretty much how you tell. It's clear, and it's like a chalkboard. Okay, that would have came out of Slate's in Penargil quarries. Life expectancy on a slate like this, when you read articles about it, they're going to tell you 75, maybe 100 years. We did work on Hershey, the Hershey School. This same stone, which is a bad vein, is 35 years old, and it was shot.
Is that Delaware Valley? Is that the Delaware Valley?
No, that's up in above Allentown, Slate and Penargil area. But the Hershey Trust Building, Hershey, Pennsylvania, where those roofs were shot, we couldn't even repair them. So again, just because it's slate and from a certain quarry, you can get bad stone, which is going to shorten the life expectancy. That's a high concentration of carbon. That is a ribbon, that's a weakness in the stone. And when you look at those roofs, you're going to see corners, triangular corners, have fallen off of the roof. That's a ribbon slate. It was a cheap slate when they bought it, okay? And there's not much you can do. When they start falling off, you're at the end of the life expectancy. Very grainy texture. I refer to it as almost like an oak piece of wood. You can see the heavy grain in it. Probably one of the best slates around. You'll hear people talk about 200-year life expectancy plus from a peach bottom slate. So again, you've got a roof where you look up, you see the lines, the slates are falling out, you got a few holes, but you got peach bottom slate. Don't hesitate at all to have that roof taken down and reset. Because again, if the roof's 100 years, you may get another 100 years out of that roof. Again, it's a very, very hard, dense stone. Life expectancy again, 150 years and up. Now the way, when I talk about hard, dense stone, what you're going to do, you take a sample from the roof, you're going to find out what's good. We talk about ringing a slate. And what you're going to do is just tap it. It's very dense. This one here, a little bit older. I'm not sure whether you can hear it or not. It still has a pretty decent ring to it. If you will hear more of a thud, and you're hitting an older slate, slate is a shale made of multiple layers. And as they start to delaminate and soften, again, it's a sound that you will notice when you're ringing. Using Canadian black slate. I've been in the business 43 years, and I think I know a little bit about slate. The quarry took me out to a church in town, and I looked at it. He said, "Give me a guess." He says, "How old is that roof?" And everything, the lines were all perpendicular. It was great. There's still even a gloss to it, but there's no repairs, nothing. And I knew I was being set up, and I looked at the roof, and I figured, okay, it still has the gloss on it. I'm going to go 20 years. 20 years. That's the original roof. It's 100 years old. And that was Canadian black slate. Beautiful condition. So 100 years, 35 years. Don't go on the age. You have to know what type of slate, type of fastener, and you have to know the weathering characteristics of it. For countertops, blackboards, what have you. Okay? And as the pieces get smaller, whatever's left over, they keep on moving down the assembly line, and then you get 12 by 24 slates out of these. And if something breaks off of that, it gets moved over here, and they'll cut that down into a 10 by 20, 9 by 18, until basically there's no scrap left except for small pieces. But
and there's still a market for the irregular ones at the bottom.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Again, it's so labor intensive nowadays. It's hard for us to compete. So as Englishmen to put that type of roof down. So you'll find most people buying for a larger slate to decrease the labor.
How many active quarries are there?
That I couldn't tell you. You still have your Buckingham out of Virginia, which is very active. It's an excellent stone. And you've got your Penn Argyle, Slatington. Up in New York, you've got a lot of slate. Vermont. But again, a lot of the good stone we're getting is out of Canada now. But the slate industry is actually growing, and we're bringing slate in from Portugal, Spain, China. Again, Chinese slate, water device, might be a little bit cheaper. Stay away from it. Absolute nightmare. Absolute nightmare.